and I'll never give up. No, I'll never surrender.
There's a little extra excitement happening in the studio today because we're just a little over a week away from the show of shows. WrestleMania is upon us, Camper. Are you as excited as I?
It's the heat, the excitement is radiating off of you as we're going to get to Dallas in a little over a week. I'm excited to be down there for everything going down, and some of those roads still not.
We're all getting sick. Were you one that maybe, did you text or call Sammy when the number was leaked, by the way?
Yeah, I FaceTimed him wearing this.
Did you?
He wasn't pleased.
But are you going to keep us up to date on what's going on with social media?
100% across the board as per usual. In the YouTube chat right now, Sam thinks today's show is going to be really cool. We agree, Sam. And Pratika can't wait to see the Hall of Famer we have on today's show. Y'all know the deal. Hashtag WWE The Bump across every single social platform known.
Dolph Ziggler, he's got a big title defense coming up, and also really pumped to have DDP on here. He's got a new Netflix show, and we got always plenty to talk to with him. So again, all-star lineup per usual. But let's talk about what's been happening this past week in WWE. Let's start with SmackDown because I think we were all pretty aware how dangerous Brock Lesnar.
A little bit. Sometimes cars get picked up. The intensity gets picked up. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. We know what's going down. Title versus title, unification, the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. Obviously, we'll see more about that. Champion. Kayla, have you ever carried a door around?
I can barely open the door into the studio, so the answer is no. However, I worked for my dad when I was in high school in his warehouse, and I tried to drive a forklift, and you have to have a license for that. So I'd like to see the credentials.
It's like the Baylor. Don't touch the Baylor.
Don't touch the Baylor. Great comment.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's move things to what happened on Monday Night Raw. One of the greatest superstars in WWE.
next week. I
For
think they
how
can
many
put that
years
stuff
now?
back
That's
together, but it's going to happen. But I don't know if, and he needs to be there. Bottom line, we can
Yep.
say he needs to be at WrestleMania. I hope something is figured out by then.
All right, well, let's talk about what's been happening with two of the most dominant women in WWE right now, Camper.
WrestleMania Saturday, we are going to see Charlotte Flair defend her SmackDown Women's Championship against Ronda Rousey. In the talk here the last few weeks, no, Charlotte Flair knows her way around the entire ring. And strong message to a WrestleMania opponent, Ronda Rousey.
And I think you said the correct word right there, and that is physical. No telling what's going to happen between these two women on WrestleMania Saturday, but I think this could be the most physical match on either of the nights. So, hey, Raya, I know you're keeping tabs on the YouTube chat. Are people kind of weighing in on what they think is going to happen?
Not only in the YouTube chat, I've seen this across entirety of social since Friday night. I mean, Kayla, I think physical is the right word because, I mean, it's clearly, I mean, you can't see that and think that it's going to be calm on WrestleMania. But speaking of calm and frantic, two words or maybe one of those words can describe Sami Zayn and his methods heading into his Anything Goes match with
Anything goes. What do you think Johnny Knoxville's chances are here at WrestleMania?
Looks like you have a 20% chance.
Oh, okay. We're going to cut that last part. We don't need to hear that. Anyways, all right. You take care.
Have a good one. Good luck.
Yeah, oh, I'm not going to need it. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a man named Johnny Knoxville?
Johnny Knoxville, I have.
You have?
Yeah.
What do you think of him?
Well, you know what? I'm not a fan of the show, but if they want to self-mutilate, then that's okay.
Now, let me ask you this. Would you pay to see another person, maybe a WWE superstar, mutilate Johnny Knoxville?
Well,
at WrestleMania, for example.
Well,
does that sound interesting to you?
I'm all about peace and love, man. So if it's contrary,
I am too.
If it's contrary to that, then probably not.
But you would support whoever was against Johnny Knoxville.
I
is
would
what you're
say
saying.
Congratulations to the winner.
Which will
Good
be
enough?
Thank you very much. Great. You have a
All
good
right,
day.
God bless, bud.
Didn't like Johnny Knoxville in his own hometown. I love it. I love it.
So the memes were plentiful. It was great. The memes were plentiful after this. Tunes here on Twitter says, when somebody loves Johnny Knoxville and it's a sign of Sammy holding a sign that says, how do you sleep at night? And then this one was my favorite. This is Sammy's reaction when he finds that someone doesn't like Johnny Knoxville in his hometown. That exact face right there. However, here's what I want to say about this coming out of this. It's anything goes. And Johnny Knoxville has responded to Sammy every step of the way here. Just remember, Johnny Knoxville has literally looked a raging bull in the face twice and lived to tell the tale. So Sammy might have a plan for anything goes, but anything goes could, in a roundabout way, help Johnny Knoxville in all of this at WrestleMania. Either way, I can't wait.
Did we see, like, when Johnny Knoxville got the message that the match would be anything goes, and that laugh that he had at the end of his response?
So happy.
He is more than Sammy, love you, buddy, but I'd be worried.
Johnny's life is anything goes.
I know. This is not, yeah.
It's literally his mantra.
Not uncharted territory.
It's literally how he lives his life. But speaking of laughs and speaking of making yourself happy, let's talk about in the wake of Monday night. Corey Fitz here. Kevin Owens got us twice because it was not just the initial glass shatter. There was a second one, both times my roommate Sean Cohen thought that Stone Cold was coming out. Nope, it was just still Kevin Owens. I'm sure Kayla was pumped because Kevin Owens is her favorite wrestler. And then Tones here, Stone Cold Kevin Owens. This place was pissed. Yeah, I mean, again, those videos on Instagram and TikTok really illustrate just how angry people were. As for Kevin, though, he wasn't upset at all. Owens 316 says, I just fooled all of y'all. And ultimately, listen, it's the KO show. Kevin Owens is not being anything even remotely close to bashful. These two are ready to scrap, and Kevin Owens, I mean, Stone Cold all those years ago, like he told us last week, told him to run his mouth. He is running his mouth in droves, and we'll see if that works out for him on WrestleMania Saturday. Speaking of WrestleMania Saturday, we're going to backtrack a little earlier in the day to NXT Stand and Deliver, because last night on NXT, an amazing match. Ultimately, we see Kaylee Ray saying we did it because Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai won the Dusty Classic. Congrats to them. And Kaylee Ray is pumped here, and Io Shirai is about to be pumped here as well. But not just because they won the Dusty Cup, but because they turned the tag team championship opportunity that in theory they would have had into now a fatal four-way, which Mandy Rose did not seem too pleased about at the conclusion of NXT last night. But when she took to Twitter, she was as confident as always. A fatal four-way at NXT Stand and Deliver for the NXT Women's Championship. Matt, as we know, Kayla, a ton of variables in a fatal four-way. Mandy's confident now, but things will change on Saturday afternoon next weekend. A lot to dissect there and a lot to look forward to.
All right, Ryan. Well, thank you. We're looking forward to bringing on our first guest of the morning. He has been on this show 12 times more than any guest we've had in WWE's The Bump history. And he will be squaring off against Happy Corbin at WrestleMania, hoping to hopefully never hear he or Madcap Moss tell a horrible joke or laugh ever again. And I'm with you on that, too. Let's bring him here on The Bump again for the 12th time, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we?
How are you feeling this morning? Got your coffee?
I feel excellent. Yeah, I've got my coffee. We're almost at Mania, just over a week away. Going to beat Corbin's butt, and I have almost as many appearances on The Bump as Charlotte has title reigns. So I'm feeling pretty good about that.
You're basically like, you're the champion of The Bump. Well, listen, like you said, we're less than 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, and before we get to your match against Happy Corbin, how are you feeling after returning to the ring so quickly at the Rumble?
I feel great. I was able to come back so quick for a start. Initially, it was a little bit scary. Obviously, everyone saw what old Happy and Madcap did to me. But speaking to the doctor afterwards, doing some tests afterwards, there was some lingering issues that were going on, and I was informed, hey, never mind making the Rumble. You might not be making Mania the way you're looking right now. And it took a couple of weeks, a couple of doctors, some serious rehab and some serious determination from Drew McIntyre. But thankfully, I got cleared. I was able to come back at the Rumble, and I've been 100% ever since on TV, on live events, on appearances. Absolutely nothing will stop me. There's a reason they used to call me the Terminator.
Drew, glad to have you back. Glad to see you on WrestleMania once again. And let's talk about your WrestleMania history a little bit, because the last 2 years you have been challenging for the WWE Championship. We'll get to the match with Happy Corbin. Did you look at the last 2 years more about business and goals when it came to the WWE Championship?
Yeah, I guess if you look at my WrestleMania matches since I returned to WWE, it started with a big match with Roman, and then I defeated Brock for the WWE Championship the following year, and fought for the WWE Championship against Lashley last year. And then this year it's Corbin, and a lot of people might say, one of these is not like the other. But at the same time, as big as those other matches were, they were for the championship. They were for glory against Roman. This is very much personal. I was gifted the match about 3 weeks ago. I thought I was going to have to fight for it, do some deals under the table to get the match with Corbin. It was just given to me, and I don't want to take him out. I could have taken him out any time over the past few weeks. I could take him out this week before WrestleMania. I want to wait to WrestleMania on the biggest stage of the world, the most eyes possible, and embarrass Corbin. And I've not been studying the matches you think I've been studying. I've not been watching the Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin's, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels matches. No, I've been studying Vince McMahon versus Bret Hart, the longest, most uncomfortable butt beating of all time, and I'm going to break that record.
If you want to do the thing with Hornswoggle and JBL with the trash can, feel free to maybe bring that out as well. I think that would be fun to watch. But let's talk more about your WrestleMania history. This is your 7th WrestleMania match, with your first going back to...
It's wild looking at that, just how young I look, and currently I look like a eaten the previous version of myself, as well as growing all the facial hair that I have. When I was younger, I was just so nervous. Even if I didn't appear on the outside, on the inside, I was there. Or 200,000 people in the building. You'll get the same Drew McIntyre every single time, the same level of match quality, the same butt kicking, and the same confidence. The difference is more within than anything about just how confident I am these days.
Well, just a minute ago, you mentioned how this match is more personal than anything. It goes beyond the match itself. Can you elaborate a little bit more on why this has become so personal for you when it comes to Happy Corbin?
Because he tried to break my neck at day one. It's as simple as that. He tried to take away the one thing I love, the longest relationship I've ever had in my entire life, the most dysfunctional relationship I've ever had in my entire life with wrestling in general. I wanted to do this since I was 5 years old. I was signed by WWE 21 years old. After wrestling since 15 years old, first ever Scotsman to do it. I've been doing it full time. I didn't want to do anything else. He tried to take away the thing I love. And like I said, I'm very fortunate that I was able to come back, that I've got the determination and I guess physical attributes that I have, and some good doctors. And at WrestleMania, I'm going to make him pay. I'm going to punish him worse than anyone has ever been punished before on live television. And I've been very calm about it over the past few weeks. And Corbin keeps sending all his guys at me. He keeps trying all these tactics to take me out. And I've told him already. So, buddy, you can send 2 men, 3 men, 4 men. You can send an army. You can send a band. Drew McIntyre's a one-man band of destruction at WrestleMania. It's going to. I enjoyed the joke this past week on SmackDown. I was talking about nappy talk instead of happy talk. That was a little funnier than usual. But when it comes to Madcap, he's somebody I've always seen potential in. I was around him at NXT. I've watched just how hard he works. He's been injured a couple of times, a couple of significant injuries. He's not let it deter him. He's came back. He's a big guy. He'll look great on a poster. But when it comes to the in-ring aspect, he works so hard. He is very good. He was an incredible human being during the time in NXT. Unfortunately, he went down a bad path. Got a very bright future. At the same time, as much as I'm running down Corbin, and I could do it all day long, we could all do it all day long. He's the worst human being on planet Earth. He does have a lot of experience. He is willing to do whatever it takes. He is a big guy. I'm not just writing him off. Let me make that clear. I'm going to really hurt him. That's a fact. But I am going in with a game plan. He is somebody I do need to be concerned about. And the biggest thing is just his confidence level right now. This undefeated thing, even though he's technically not undefeated, as Happy Corbin is growing his confidence as high as it's ever been to match his physical attributes. And you need both in sync with each other. They're both in sync with each other right now. So I'm not writing him off. It's going to be a battle initially, but in the end, I'm dropping his arse.
So back to the point, though, of Madcap. Do you believe that he'd be better off carving his own path outside of Happy Corbin?
Yeah, 100%.
Like who was, right?
I mean, I guess it got a positive. He has been in NXT for a long time. He's finally got his foot in the door, and he's getting to show what he can do, which is last a long time in the ring with Drew McIntyre, as well as landing on his head during a match and continuing through and showing just how tough he really is. So now that his foot's in the door, hopefully he listens to those around him, opens his eyes, sees the light of day, understands that Corbin's just holding him back, and that he can be something in WWE, and I do believe he's got a bright future.
You mentioned it before, Drew. Once upon a time, you and Happy Corbin had a line.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't good memories. The three of us were together. I mean, you can just look at the clip, just how physically, being. Like, I didn't like the way he treated the general public. But when it came to business, the three of us had very similar goals, which was absolute destruction. And just look at the visual of all of us together. There was not many people that could stand toe-to-toe with us. Terrible human being, though.
Well, obviously, like we've said several times, WrestleMania is less than 2 weeks away. We know what you're most looking forward to is getting your hands on Happy Corbin and hopefully shutting him up. But what else are you looking forward to for WrestleMania weekend? Even matches maybe that have nothing to do with you that you're also looking forward to seeing?
There's a bunch I'm excited about. History with both of them. I defeated Brock Lesnar for my first WWE Championship. These days, you know, he's going through a new phase of Cowboy Brock, which is somehow even more terrifying when he was angry all the time. Roman and I have the big history together, probably my greatest opponent since I've returned to WWE. My kryptonite, I still haven't defeated him, so I'll be keeping my eyes close on that match because whoever wins that, I'm gunning for them. You were just talking about Sammy and Knoxville. I'm really interested by that one. I've really been enjoying what Sammy's been doing. It's been highly entertaining, as much as it drives him crazy. I've seen him in the locker room for real, on the phone, on FaceTime, taking calls with people in the public. History together. That's going to be an incredible match. And if I had a list in front of me, I'd go through all the matches.
That was a very that was amazing.
It was a thorough breakdown.
Yeah,
I do a lot of media based on my life. Is talking about 3 hours a day, so I should know it right off the top of my head. I'm mostly getting asked about the shillelagh and the sword behind me when I'm doing all my other interviews. But it's nice to talk about some different stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
as I like to point out all the time as well, as you'll see, this is what Sheamus carries in the background.
Yep.
You know, he's got the little one, but everybody. On Twitter, and I started thinking back. Just the first time I ever saw her, I remember it, and I told her this as well. I just moved back to Florida to FCW. I'd been living in Louisiana for a year, and I came into FCW. I wanted to get back to training. I wanted to, start doing some matches there. I hadn't been working enough. I wanted to get as many reps in as possible. And I got the brightest future in the world.
Very cool to hear that coming from you. Before we get going at AT&T Stadium on WrestleMania Saturday, we'll see first NXT Stand and Deliver. Now, something we're going to talk about here, you've both been tag team champions together. You've been WWE Championship opponents. And now you have both been NXT champions. So who is a better representative of the NXT title, Drew? You or Dolph Ziggler?
By the way, Dolph Ziggler is up next, so he's probably listening to this.
Yeah, sure. I don't think that'll change his answer, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, man, it's so cool to see. I'm going to say some
were there. You know what you said. But with that said, off of this, Drew, I will find a question within here. Do you think that Happy Corbin right now is too focused on other things like Twitter and poker games ahead of this WrestleMania match? He's facing you at WrestleMania. Do you think he's not as locked in as he should be right now?
I think he's pretty locked in. I give him crap because it's fun. Coming together once again. Drew McIntyre will be somewhere, try and hunt me down, and we'll celebrate together.
Right on. A perfect segue from Celebration. Clarence wants to know, quote, Drew, you got dance moves? Question mark.
Take my name into the Google machine, Drew McIntyre dancing, Drew Galloway dancing. You'll find plenty of clips of me and Jeff Hardy dancing. You'll find that featured. I know Ricochet was in there and a bunch of superstars across the different promotions, and I was the final one no one expected to dance, and you'll see me break out those dance moves.
Good headbutt that one if I remember.
Look it up, Clarence. And lastly, from Josh, we're going to see Stone Cold on the KO show on WrestleMania Saturday. Drew, what is your favorite all-time Stone Cold moment?
Wildly jealous of KO that he's sharing the stage with Stone Cold. So hopefully he's been putting in the work, not just running his mouth to be ready for Stone Cold, because I know he's ready. So I'll pick something not match based. My favorite Stone Cold moment was spending time with him in the Broken Skull sessions and getting to know him and having a proper conversation with him for the first time ever. Ah, you bums. Try to make me cry.
There's so much.
I've been on the bump more times than Drake Maverick by far now, so that means the most to me, I guess. And the fact that I won this award, it's cool, man. That means things are working. You're digging what I'm doing. I really appreciate you. Office or somebody in the back, but it means so much more to me to be chosen by the fans.
And that's such a small amount of moments we've shared with you, but we appreciate you so much. Seriously, we love you, and we wish you all the best on your road to WrestleMania, and we can't wait to
WrestleMania. I appreciate that. I appreciate you all. And let's make sure Lucky 13 is in person.
Yes.
I'll be there in studio.
Oh,
Thanks, Drew.
thank
Good
you.
luck,
All right,
man.
Drew. Yeah, good luck. We'll see you soon.
Go get him, Drew.
See you at WrestleMania.
He's so great. All right, guys, this entire month we've had the opportunity to celebrate some of the most influential women in WWE. So real quickly, we have a really good look on two
next level at some point. Maybe report back, say, hey, Raw, hey, SmackDown, hey, Vince McMahon, I see something in these guys, these gals, they can do something big in the future. Let me get my hands on them. And next thing you know, 2 weeks later, I'm the NXT champion. And I would say it's crazy to me, but I guess I got like 30 or 40 titles. I don't stand-up comedian, an actor, a firefighter. It's the reps, it's the repetition, it's getting it, it's having it second nature in your brain without having to think about it. And that kid is strong, powerful, fast. He's going to be something huge, but he's not ready yet. And that's where the brain parts, that's where me slowly manipulating, me talking him into putting his title on the line and losing it without even getting pinned. That's those little things that you can't teach that Drew McIntyre was just talking about a few minutes ago. You can't teach that to anyone. You can't teach the ring presence, the awareness, knowing to be able to get your foot on a probably in the best shape of my life. I mean, it's what you guys say, not me.
Dolph, you have all those positive attributes, but Kayla mentioned earlier some people looked at your win for the NXT Championship as a surprise. Do you take that as a slight?
No, I think the first thing I said to you guys was no one is more surprised that I'm NXT champion right now than me. Everyone in that locker room can't wait to stab you in the back and take your spot. And that's what I did.
Right on. Dolph, we're talking about crowd reactions. Yeah, we're talking about crowd reactions right now in the YouTube chat. Bad Boy, Andrea Price, they're showing you a ton of respect. And speaking of respect, commendable, you are the only superstar in history to be both NXT champion and World Heavyweight champion. The only one. So let's do a little compare and contrast. What would you say the biggest difference for you as a competitor is, as in 2013 as world champion and now in 2022 as NXT champion?
The absolute most important forget the rest of my life. I won't forget this one either because I didn't plan on it. All I wanted to do was set an example, show everyone what I can do when I want to, and I caught everyone by surprise. So this is so many years later, you go, I felt a little stale. I don't ever get out of practice. I'm never out of shape. I will never, ever be tired, even if I did a okay. And I said to Rude, we're too good to just be sitting here because you catch yourself. You can say complacent. The world's complacent is nothing like mine. I don't sleep. I go to the gym. I stay awake. I plot. I think. And I go, we need to make something happen because it's what have you done for me lately? People can pat you on the back for something happening. You know what? Sadly, we are. But I feel like there's some kind of, I don't know, some vanity behind it when you're backstage and someone goes, hey, did you see my match? You know, am I missing any pieces? What can I do to change? And then as you start to tell them, well, actually, I know exactly what you need to do, they go, you know, I grew up watching you, or I'm doing a little bit of jump rope and getting ready for Stand and Deliver. But I am without a doubt in the shape of my career, and you get that respect, but it's also like, man, you were so good when I was a kid. And I go, what the hell did you just say? And then you go, oh, that's not what I meant. But it is what they mean, and that's what I feed off of. It's like, why is this guy, 17 years in the business, in NXT, in our home, taking our title, letting everyone know who the best is? And you go, well, you answered your own question.
Well, you just said that 17 years in this business. So, you know, you've had a lot of big moments in your time in WWE. But then on the other side of the spectrum, we're looking at Braun Breaker, younger, greener. So Stand and Deliver could be and will be the biggest moment in his career. Now that you've been in the ring with him several times, what is your assessment on him as a superstar? And
guard. If you go WrestleMania weekend and you're focusing on a title and then you step through the ring and this wave of emotion, whether they're happy to see you or they hate seeing you, they're cheering or booing, you go, what the hell did I just get myself into? And the second he's thinking about that, that's how I win. That's how I sneak it one past him. That's a lot of people. And then he takes his eye off the ball. And that is the only thing that he is lacking right now. It's getting the reps in, having the knowledge to watch your back. And he's just like, I'm a happy guy who works hard. This is going to work out. And you go, kid, in real life, that's not always how it goes.
All right. Well, do you have any final words for Braun less than 2 weeks away?
Do you guys have any final words for Braun?
I'm good.
Watch your back, buddy.
He's got a big challenge ahead. He should know
pretty
that.
good. WrestleMania week. I hope Mania can follow this somehow. That's my goal. Braun Breakers is to go, whoa, take it all in, and I'm going to win this title for my family. And that is very valiant, and that is a great effort, and that really matters. But it doesn't make you a winner. I am going to do whatever it takes to get in his head, to beat him down, punk him out on the biggest stage of all, and walk out as the NXT champion, especially since everyone already telling me, oh, this is Breaker's big moment. This is his chance to win on the big stage. It sure as hell is a chance, and he's not going to get it.
All right. Wow. All right. Confident words from the champ, Dolph. Thank you so much. And for everyone out there, be sure to check Dolph out on After the Bell this Friday on Spotify. Good luck, champ.
Thanks, Dolph.
Thanks, sir.
I don't need it. You guys know that.
Okay.
Oh, you know, he never lacks confidence. That's one thing.
That's why he's champ.
That's why he's champ. All right, well, before we bring on our final guest, I do want to throw things over to Matt to tell us about a new Peacock exclusive show premiering next Thursday. It's called WWE Evil.
I'm very excited about it. WWE Evil invites the fan into the characters, the villains of many different eras, the psychology, the history, how they've connected to pop culture, and so much more with some of the biggest names. Let's take a look at what you can expect. Tomorrow, this series is digging deep into some of the biggest names in the industry. The series offers audiences a chance to see those evildoers in a new light. WWE Evil is an entertaining psychological expose into the
The morning. He is a WWE Hall of Famer whose new show, The Guardians of Justice Will Save You, is currently streaming on Netflix. Super pumped to have him on right now. Please welcome Diamond Dallas Page.
Welcome back.
DDP, hello.
Hey, guys.
Hey, good to see you.
How are you?
We're great. Better now. How have you been?
Good to be
Busy.
Here. Good. I literally just got done training maybe one of the kings of evil at one time, Jake the Snake Roberts. He was just training with me in my for him for A&E biography. I just squeezed that in right before you guys.
Oh, well, thank you for taking some time to chat with us. We want to dive in, though, to your new Netflix show, Guardians of Justice. For those who haven't seen it, we've actually been watching it. Tell us a little more about it and your involvement with the show.
Well, we started filming this like 7 years ago. It was something we were going to put on YouTube. And as we started to do it, it just started to grow legs. And then Netflix got involved and it turned into what it is. And I play, if Batman were to be ever older than 39 or 40 and he got to 60, so Nighthawk is in his 60s and he drinks and he smokes and he cusses and he kills and we just had a lot of fun with it. It's Hawk, again, takes himself very seriously, and he's the ultimate narcissist and fascist. He believes that he can save the world as long as we do it my way. And again, I just had a lot of fun doing it, and it really got to show my acting chops. Because there's a lot of scenes where it's just jibber jabber, but then there's a lot of them where they get really serious, and that's where I had the most fun. Finding out, because Nighthawk, like Batman, he's a detective, and the Batman that's on the be universe to let them know that it's up there on Netflix. It is a Netflix original, and I'm pretty excited about it. Another thing I'm really excited about is WrestleMania. Going to be down there and going to be doing a number of things. But one of the big things I'm going to be doing right before WrestleMania that he throws big tents out over. He's got music and he's got cocktails and the best barbecue on the planet. And I'll be there with Rick and Jake Snake Roberts. So if you got a shot before you got to go to VIPSportsGetaway.com. Really get yourself your spot. Right. So we got a lot of good things happening.
That's awesome. DDP, can't wait to see you at WrestleMania weekend. We're so happy that you're all over Netflix as well. But we also want to send our condolences to the passing of your good friend, Scott Hall. We know how much that you meant to Scott, but we'd love for you to tell the audience what Scott meant to you.
It's crazy how much territory years old, and he asked me if I would home with this, idea that I had years ago called the Diamond Stud, and I reached out, and they weren't. He'd already had a couple of shots there, but he was never ready at that point. Scott was so ready when he finally came in with me as I managed him, the Diamond Stud. We changed his whole look, gave him the look that would become Razor Ramon. And when he went up to the WWE and just imploded on NWO, him and Kevin Nash, because those were the two main leaders. And it was just the brotherhood that we had, with each other. I got to tell you this one story. My ex-wife Kimberly, she was around at that time, and she and I were talking like right when they were getting ready. Scott, this is the day that Scott passed, and we knew they were going to pull the plug, and it hit me super, 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 super. Much in the business. Like Jake, he taught me so much in the business, and that he would let me drive the last 10 years. And, you guys all saw it in our documentary, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. You saw Scott's transformation, and I'm so glad that he got the,
You've had quite a WrestleMania career going back to WrestleMania 6 when you drove the pink Cadillac for Rhythm and Blues. You had, of course, your match at 18. You were in the Battle Royal. You were, as a surprise, you've been in the Hall of Fame. What does this type of year kind of bring up to you, and what are you looking forward to this year?
works in town. I consider him one of my close friends, and we talk all the time. And again, Zig has been to the show. He has been to the Super Bowl of professional wrestling. Braun ain't been there yet, but that kid, he shows up for the big moments in life, and that's why he was an AAU champion and a football champion. I mean, he rises to the event. So Zig is one of the best ever, man. I mean, Zig Ziglar is one of the greatest mechanics in professional wrestling. Still.
With that being, said one more time, all those, make sure you guys go check out Guardians of Justice, which is streaming on Netflix. You mentioned, you said a lot of great things about Dolph Ziggler. Do you think he'd be a WWE superstar that Nighthawk would want in Guardians of Justice?
That's true. But if you guys did watch it, that also Johnny Moore. And he plays one of my proteges, that came up, and we left on not so good terms. And the fun that Johnny has going back and forth with Nighthawk, and Johnny plays a character called Red Talon, and
Sports fellas, before we say adios for the day.
Be careful for forklifts and Brock driving anything on Friday.
Maybe-
I'm worried about you.
Actually, I should get Brock Lesnar in here to open the door for
What are
me
you,
every
nuts?
week.
No
He's
way.
Hey, Brock just comes in every week.
And
He's got a lot of things on his
No,
plate.
good plan, Kayla.
Hangs out in Saskatchewan, not Stanford. That's how that works.
All right, guys, thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Keep on, keep on, keep on, yeah. Don't let them stop you from winning and winning and winning again. I was born a champion.